Howdy folks, I'm Sweet Cicely, slyly sizzling sticky cinnamon sweets.
I'm Amber.
And here are more sticky cinnamon sweets for us to sizzle past. So I guess that's what you do with cinnamon. It's spicy, so it sizzles, right? And folks, we have a live stream coming up tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so we hope to see you then. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Wanting to Write My Novel While My Girlfriend Works? A couple of months ago, I, a 32-year-old male, lost my job. It was expected, and I honestly was excited about it because my work-life balance wasn't great, and my girlfriend, a 28-year-old female, makes more than enough to support both of us. I decided that I would use at least the summer to return to a passion project of mine, a piece of genre-bending fiction that I hadn't touched in a decade. My girlfriend knows me. She understands that I was never happy in management, that I have an ability and talent for language that one day will provide for both of us. But ever since June began, she began badgering me about finding a job, any job. Again, we're not poor. This disagreement is becoming a daily battle. She cites saving for a house and a wedding. I tell her that 3 months dedicated to my work is more of an investment than 3 months stocking shelves at Costco could ever be, and that to enter back into the workforce now at 32 would be to give up on my dreams forever. She claims to believe in me, she reads my stuff, and tells me that it's brilliant. And so do many others. Yet, she still insists that I spend 40 hours a week laboring for someone else. And now it's getting to the point where I can't even sit down to write without her doubt intruding. Doubt about the power of my work and doubt about our relationship. Am I in the wrong here? Working on my novel, I finally feel like I'm myself again for the first time in a decade, and I don't want to give up on that. I can't write at my peak while working a full-time job, but I don't want to give up on an 8-year relationship either. Any advice would be appreciated. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I understand OP's desire completely. But the thing is that the girlfriend has not agreed to this. It seems like OP has kind of tried to make a unilateral decision. I'm going to take this time for my writing. And girlfriend is not comfortable with the situation as it is. So it is kind of a choice here where you can't just live off your girlfriend indefinitely if she's not willing to support you. It sounds like this is going to blow up the relationship. And I think it's also really important to understand that it doesn't matter if you're a brilliant writer, you're not going to make money. Even writers who are, hitting bestseller lists a lot of times still have full-time jobs. There are, like, of course, the unicorns who, make millions and millions of dollars, but they are few and far between. And with more books being published every year, each author is selling fewer and fewer books. Advances are going down, royalties are going down, and so you can be a brilliant writer, you can be very, very talented and still not be able to make a full-time living off of writing. So I think OP needs a really hard reality check here.
Yeah, just looking at back of the napkin type of numbers here, it looks like authors in general will earn about $25,000 a year, $30,000 a year. So, I mean, people who are writing novels and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a statistic for the average, advance for traditionally published authors. Now, debut authors, you're going to earn less because that's taking into account career authors as well, people who've been publishing for 5, 7, 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all really important details here. And I mean, the thing is, I think while OP is saying, oh, well, this is an advancement, and that the Costco time will be less of an advancement, you're probably going to earn more than $25,000 at Costco than you are, you're probably not going to earn $25,000 on your first writing endeavor either, right? And so I think that that's really, OP is kind of, people don't go into writing to earn tons of money. People go into writing because it's a passion of theirs and they have a story they want to tell and they want to share with the world. I mean, whether we can argue to the end of the universe whether or not that's right, because I do think that people who write deserve to earn a living. But the reality of the system that we currently have is that authors are not compensated at the same rate that other professions are. And like Amber was saying before, more and more people are writing every year. And now there's a lot of people who are using AI to do the writing for them, who are also flooding the market with poorly written books and stuff like that. And, there's when you have a lot of, noise like that, it can make it even harder to break into a market, right? And that's not to discourage OP. I think that it's wonderful that OP is a great writer and that people really love their work. But the fact of the matter is that you have to really be both on board if you want to have this arrangement where one person writes and does an artistic type of thing while the other person goes to work and does their non-passion here. And
Right.
I think that OP is also not seeing like the selfishness of the situation where maybe she wants to do a passion project, but she doesn't feel like she can because he's, doing this writing career, which is a huge gamble and may not even pay out at all, right?
Yeah, so it may be a situation where, like, OP has to choose whether they want to give writing a go, maybe find someone else who would support them doing that, or, just find if they have savings they can live off, do that for a bit. But I don't think it's going to be sustainable in this current relationship. Your partner has made herself clear over and over and over again. This is not something she's willing to compromise on.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate, and I feel bad for OP because I do think that they should be able to do writing, and it would be nice if we lived in a world where that was the case. But unfortunately, if he doesn't have the support of his partner, and she wants him to work, then, you need to both be on the same page when it comes to finances like that, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, My 20-year-old male boyfriend doesn't like me, an 18-year-old female, reading fictional books. For some context, I read classics and romance books. He doesn't have a problem with anything else, but he says romantic books, the darker, more toxic ones, are damaging my brain. We've known each other for about 5 months and been dating for 1. He knew that I read all of this stuff in the first week of meeting me. We're also long distance, by the way. I don't know what to do now, since reading is one of my most favorite hobbies, and it's impossible for me to drop that. I want to be honest with him about everything, but this is making me want to just read in private. It's not like he'll find out. But yeah, I obviously won't do that. I don't condone dishonesty in relationships. Also, he watches movies, for example. I don't watch anything, so what's the difference between books and movies? All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, it sounds like OP and the partner here are fundamentally incompatible. There is nothing wrong with wanting to read romantic books, and that will not damage your brain. Reading is reading, and it is, a good thing to do. Now, there are unhealthy ideals that are perpetuated in some books, and it is important to read them critically and to acknowledge, that some of the things that seem fine in fantasy are not okay in reality. The dark romance genre in particular has some problematic books, and there's nothing wrong with reading them, but it's important to understand that that's not real life and that's not a good, real situation.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's what's important here is that there's a stark difference between reality and fiction, right? Fiction is an escape from reality, and oftentimes people don't really want the fantasies that they read about in fiction to happen in real life. And that's really the important distinction. So that isn't damaging as long as you have a healthy separation between the fanciful and reality, right? If you start trying to bring these fantastical themes into your relationship and he doesn't like that, that would be one thing, right? Mm-hmm. But it sounds like he just doesn't even want OP to read fiction at all.
Which is a problem.
Yeah, seems a little bit controlling to me. And I think like he's also entitled to say, hey, this is a deal breaker for me. But he's not entitled to say you can't watch this or you can't read this, right? So I think that this might be another relationship where things just aren't looking very compatible here.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not telling her that I'm married? Am I the jerk for not telling her that I'm married? I'm a 32-year-old male, and I've been in an open relationship for a few years. My wife and I are very close and comfortable with it. We have our own agreements, and within our marriage, this has never been an issue. About 2 months ago, I went out clubbing with some friends and made out with a girl. After that, we went out 2 more times and ended up sleeping together. During that time, we talked quite a bit, But from the very beginning, I was clear that I wasn't looking for anything serious with her. And I don't mean that I hinted or left it vague. I directly said that I didn't want a relationship, dating, commitment, or anything along those lines. She always said that she was fine with that and she understood. Well, the thing is that I never directly told her that I'm married. To me, in that specific context, it didn't seem relevant. I had already made it clear that this wasn't going to become a relationship. In my mind, if someone knows that there's no chance of dating or commitment, then me being married, single, or anything else wouldn't really change the situation. As long as my wife knew about it and fully consented to it, which she did the entire time. But close to Valentine's Day, she asked me what we were going to do on that date. And I answered honestly and said that I would be spending it with my wife. And that's when she lost it. She got really upset and said that I had deceived her and even physically lashed out at me, though thankfully it wasn't anything serious. For her, the fact that I was married changed everything. And she said that I should have told her from the start. I understand that it may have been a shock, but I don't think that I actually misled her. I never promised her anything. I never said that I wanted something serious. I never encouraged the idea of us dating and always made it clear that I didn't want a relationship. My impression is that she ended up catching feelings, created expectations despite what I had been saying, and then got hurt and frustrated when she found out I had a wife. I've been involved with other women and men who didn't know right away that I was married. And when they found out, there was usually some surprise, but never anything close to this. My wife thought the whole situation was kind of funny and didn't think that I was a jerk. But some friends and coworkers said that I definitely was a jerk and that I left out an important piece of information and ended up misleading the girl, especially because she's younger. She's 21. So now I'm wondering, am I the jerk for not telling her from the very start that I'm married, even though I made it very clear that I didn't want a relationship? Edit, I understand now that I was a jerk for putting her through that. Next time, I'll just find some excuse or make things clearer from the start so that people don't have to deal with this kind of situation. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with the people saying that OP was the jerk here. It doesn't matter if he didn't want a relationship. The fact of the matter is that people have different ideas about what a marriage should look like. And it may be for her that, her idea of a marriage is that it's just two people. And learning that OP is married, it may feel to her like she's the other woman, and so that's kind of a gross position to put someone in, even in a casual relationship.
Well, yeah, I mean, some people have very strong feelings about adultery. They think that it's a sin or immoral or any number of things, and it doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter what OP's view on it is. They've put this person into a position where they might feel like this is immoral, right?
Yeah, and I misspoke a little bit. Like they mean between two people. They only want monogamy. It doesn't matter the genders of the people, but like for her, like her and him, and so pulling the wife in, he's already married to, like you were saying, that feels like adultery, even if it's not violating the boundaries of their relationship.
Yeah.
It's not the relationship she thought she was consenting to.
And the fact of the matter is that OP's like, well, I've told people after the fact plenty of times, and they've always been shocked. And it's like, so you're saying that you've known that this has come across as shocking before. This isn't your first rodeo. You know that people are taken by surprise about this and maybe don't necessarily have warm fuzzies about the situation. Now, the only thing, like I could excuse it a little bit if OP was wearing, a wedding band or something like that and making it very clear that they're married. But I'm not sure that if people are this taken aback by the fact that OP is married, right? Now, also, I would say, her being 21 and OP being so much significantly older is also a pretty big power imbalance here. This could be like her first serious relationship, right? And this, isn't really fair to her in that respect. And she may be still trying to kind of understand the bounds of what she's comfortable in a relationship, and to throw her immediately into a open relationship situation that she's not comfortable with may really be a very different idea from what she's looking for in a relationship, right?
Yeah, well, it sounds like she was under the impression that they were monogamous, and that wasn't the case. And so, I mean, honestly, they probably should have had a conversation sooner about exclusivity and whether they were seeing other people. But, you know, there's a difference between casually seeing other people and being married.
Well, I think that OP did make it very clear from what they're saying here that they said from the very beginning that they aren't looking for a relationship, and it doesn't
Well,
sound
yeah.
like they might have very blatant about not being exclusive. So I don't blame OP in that front, but I think that there's a lot of other areas here that are kind of red flags about the whole situation. They really needed to be upfront and honest about their current relationship status, and they need to be upfront about that for future partners as well who are on board with this and fine with this, right? You can't be pulling people into relationships that they aren't comfortable with or have moral objections to, right? So, and that's really the biggest issue I have with what OP is doing here, right? They need to actually advertise what they're selling. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Today I Messed Up by Forgetting the Word Powdered. So I woke up early and then I thought that I would treat myself to some delicious donuts this morning. There is a little donut stand about 5 blocks from my house. So I decided to walk up there and pick up some. When I got there, I decided that I wanted the apple fritter for me and a couple of smaller ones for my husband. I looked at the clerk in the eye and confidently ordered the apple fritter and the chocolate sprinkles ones, but my brain froze when I wanted to order the filled powdered donuts. Instead of asking for the powdered donut or the filled donut, I confidently asked, "Can you get the one that looks like cocaine?" Thankfully, the person behind the counter figured out which one I meant because my brain was not working. I didn't even realize what I had said until I was walking away and had already paid for everything. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, that's an amusing story. I've imagined that the person behind the counter got a kick out of it in their head too. But I am impressed with their professionalism. If OP could go through the entire interaction and not realize what was going on.
Yeah, sometimes words escape people, and I mean, that's really what it boils down to. So, I'm sure the shop person working at the shop has heard far weirder things in the past. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Do you want to hear a pizza joke?
Sure.
Never mind, it's too cheesy.
Oh, all right. Well, thank goodness that we've been spared from that one. And I have a special guest tea, some matcha.
And today is a very special day. It is football-shaped cat day.
Yes, Amber got that from a yard sale.
Yes, there was one benefiting the local veterinary clinic, and so my sister and I got these little cats. This is a medium-sized one. My sister got the little one, and they had some big ones that were even cuter. So,
all right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on fiction books.
There's nothing wrong with reading fiction books as long as you understand that they are fiction.
Yeah. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!